College football, week 6, best bets. In this video, 8 picks we love for Saturday's slate of action. If you are new, my name's Austin. I'm joined by Logan. Now you'll see us. I'm rocking some national champs for UCF. You know how it is. Logan's rocking his UF polo. We'll actually be in the swamp on Saturday for that game. Maybe we'll talk about that later on in the video. But as always, we dive into 4 big games on the slate, and then we get into our favorite picks of the weekend and with some props and whatnot. But first, Logan, unlike other channels, we can't avoid what we did last week. Last week was our worst week I think we'll ever have this season. I went 1-3. I needed an Oklahoma a miracle, cashed it. You went 0-4. We need to be better, and simply we can't be worse than that. So we're diving in. We got 8 picks, potentially 8 winners, and we're going to get locked in for you all today. But Logan, let's just dive into the games first and foremost. And we begin actually in a game that I have a pick in. So I'll let you talk about this one as the 15th ranked overall Clemson Tigers travel to take on Florida State. Now, worth noting, DJU is injured. I do not believe he will be playing here. Clemson is getting 14.5. They're laying a big number on the road, over under at 48.5. I have a pick here, so I'm going to talk about that in a second. But Logan, I want to hear your thoughts on this game. What would you lean if you had to pick anything here?
Yeah, so my lean in this one's pretty simple. I'd like Clemson with the points. There ain't no way I'm touching Seminoles as the underdog spot in this one. You can look at this line and you can say that's a lot of points to have to lay with Clemson, but I'm going to say they've earned that. I actually think they are head and shoulders above this Seminoles team. I mean, I got my Gators polo on. There's no way I'm garnet and gold, right? But no, realistically, no biases here. DJU, he's out, so they're gonna Florida State's gonna turn to Brock Glenn. What they get from Brock Glenn, I don't really know. That Florida State offensive line doesn't look all that great. There's a reason why DJU was very uncomfortable in the pocket. Cade Klubnik on the other side, quarterback for quarterback. Give me Cade Klubnik all day long. He's hitting 70% of his passes, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception in the last 3 games. Florida State's offense, I just don't think it's going to be able to keep up in this one. 125th in total offense, 92nd in total defense, 131st in rushing yards per game. I can't really figure out what this Seminoles team does well. And with Phil Maffa, a great backfield in Clemson, and Cade Klubnik, I just think they really get this done. I think their defense is great for a reason. They're tied for 7th in the nation in turnover margin. They're going to turn over the Seminoles team, and they're going to win convincingly. Give me Clemson, and I'm laying all the points.
Yeah, I'm not going to take Clemson. Not going to actually take Florida State. I think the only way Florida State even gets close in this game if it's a low-scoring game. So my first pick of the weekend is the under, 48.5 in this game. For a couple different reasons Logan pointed out. I don't mind Clemson's offense, but I think it's a little bit overrated from what people have seen the last few weeks. They've looked great, but who have they played? App State, NC State, which is not good this year, and then Stanford. So they've really been beaten up on some really bad defenses. Now look at Florida State. Logan put out some stats for you. Sure, they haven't been great, and I understand that, but I imagine they want to wake up for a big game in their home stadium, and I think they'll try their best to slow down Clemson's offense. I mean, last week, if you looked at them, they got poured on the points by SMU. Wasn't 100% the defense's fault. DJU threw 3 picks and kept setting up the other team in great positions. And when you keep going back out on the field, you're going to be pretty tired. I'm not necessarily saying they're not going to be tired here because I don't have a lot of faith in Brock Glenn and that FSU offense. Heck, they might not put up a single point, which obviously would help us here. I don't think the Clemson Tigers are laying a 50 piece on them, 50-0. So I think this is a lower scoring game. I still think Clemson could cover the points, but I don't know if it's going to be with the 40-plus point barrage they've been doing the last few weeks. I think they maybe they get to 30 points and they're strutting to get there. If it's like 30-17, 17 honestly might be a high number for Florida State to get to. I like the under 48.5 as my first pick of the weekend. But Logan, let's keep things moving. Let's go to our second game, and we got a big one. As the 9th ranked overall Missouri Tigers on the road in A&M taking on the Aggies, 5th ranked overall team. Weird to see, a top 10 team underdogs on the road as the Aggies are laying 2.5 points, over under at 48.5. This is going to be a tight game. I don't know why we're starting this one at 12 p.m., 11 local, but it is what it is. Good luck to the people in College Station that will be up at like 3 a.m. starting their tailgates. But either way, Logan, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, so this one I think is actually pretty easy. You can call it a little bit square, taking the higher ranked team, but I am not falling for what I consider the fake sharp Texas A&M Aggies. I'll take Missouri, and I'll take them with the points in this one. I cannot get there with Texas A&M. I understand the line looks a little bit fishy, right? But these books sometimes price these teams higher than they should be. I think this is just a classic game of Missouri getting not a whole lot of line respect, Texas A&M getting a little bit too much. So I find value on Missouri. Connor Wegman, nursing shoulder injury. He's not going to start in this game. It's going to be Marcel Reed for Texas A&M. Honestly, I mean, he's looked fine so far in 3 starts, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. They're going to get some offensive production from him. They're going to get some offensive production from Le'Veon Moss. But they're going to face a very formidable Missouri defense that not a whole lot of people talk about. They're the reason why they're ranked in the top 10. This is a great defense, 12th in the nation in both points and passing yards allowed. They're going to make life very difficult for Texas A&M to move the ball. And really, this Missouri offense, they have all the playmakers to be able to go be great on the road in this spot. Brady Cook, Luther Burden, etc. I still think they're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field. We saw earlier in the season a sort of lackluster Notre Dame offense be able to move the ball in that one, get it done. I don't see any reason why Missouri won't be able to do it themselves, and the fact that this is a noon game sort of takes that raucous crowd out of it. Yeah, give me Missouri, and I'll take the points in this one.
Yeah, for similar reasons, I like the under in this one. I'm not necessarily taking it, but I also would take Missouri if I had to bet this one. I've talked about A&M. I've faded them multiple times this season. If they had Connor Wegman starting, I'd make it an official play. I think that guy is terrible. But now they got Marcel Reed in there, fine. I won't make it an official play, but I like the Tigers as well for all the points they pulled up. I'm not going to beat it home. We like the Tigers if we had to pick that one. Next game, another game I actually have an official pick in, is the 4th ranked overall Tennessee Volunteers are heading out to Fayetteville, Arkansas, as they take on the Razorbacks. Tennessee almost laying 2 touchdowns, minus 13.5. The over-under at 58. Again, I'll let you lead things off because Logan, I have an official pick here. But Logan, what are you looking at in this contest?
Yeah, I do know your official pick, and I'm just going to give my thoughts first. I like the over. I love a ton of points between these two teams. Taylon Green, Jaquindon Jackson are great offensive weapons for Arkansas, and I really think there's a reason why this total's priced nearly 60 in an SEC showdown. 2 offensive teams that are 2 offensive juggernauts. 20th points per game for Arkansas. They've turned the ball over a lot too. And you know what? If you're picking an over, you don't necessarily hate that. Give Tennessee some short fields. I think they go up and down the field. They lead Tennessee leads the SEC in scoring offense. Nico's been amazing at quarterback for him. Tennessee also 2nd in the nation in offensive points per game. They're averaging 54 points per game. And their defense has been good, but I still trust Taylon Green and Jaquindon Jackson to be able to contribute towards this total. I think this one's an absolute shootout. Arkansas's defense can't really stop a nosebleed at times. Yeah, give me the over. I know your official pick, but go ahead and tell people your thoughts.
Yeah, it's really awkward because I'm on the under in this game. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually on the over. I like the over for all the points Logan brought up. I think Nico Iamaleava, they're able to get things going coming off a bye week. So they obviously went to Oklahoma, who's got a very good defense. We know that. And, they didn't have the best offensive game. Now they're going into Arkansas. And for all the points Logan said, Arkansas's defense hasn't been great this year. And the big kicker is why I like the over is obviously I think Tennessee can put up their points. They can put up 40 plus. But I think Taylon Green in that offense for Arkansas can put up some points as well. And last week we saw them. They were throwing it a ton, which is what you want. We don't need an offense going up against Tennessee that just wants to run the ball. That's basically all Oklahoma was doing, which is why that game soared under 2 weeks ago, last time Tennessee played. I mean, last week we saw Taylon Green, 41 pass attempts last week for A&M. Look, if they're passing it a ton, obviously we could see some chunk plays. Interceptions, sure, send them my way. Or we could just see some incomplete passes and we stop the clock and hopefully get it back to Tennessee, one of the more higher powered offenses. So again, I like the over in this game one for a lot of the different reasons that Logan brought up, but hopefully the over smacks there. But Logan, let's keep things moving. We have our 4th and final game. You have an official pick here. So I'll talk about this game first. We have the 8th overall Miami Hurricanes heading out to Cal. Right now, Miami, 10.5 point favorites, over under 55. Worth noting, the line did open up at about 13.5, and it's been bet down. A lot of people are on Cal. I don't blame them. I look at this game, obviously, you've talked about Miami coming off a scare. They could have arguably lost last week to Virginia Tech. We're not going to get into that. Probably should have lost, but hey, that good teams sometimes have to survive games like that. They come in here, though, it's going to be a little bit, it's a weird one. They're hosting College Game Day, which is early in the morning on the West Coast. Then you got to wait all the way till 10:30 p.m. Eastern time for kickoff. It's going to be a long day of tailgating for all those people out in Cal. If I had to do anything here, I'd probably lean Cal plus the points. I think there's a lot of points though here. I kind of like the over in this game. I think you'll see Cal be able to score points. We saw that on Miami. Their defense wasn't great last week, so I kind of like Cal. But if I had to bet anything here, I'd probably take the over in this game. I think there's a lot of points. I think Cam Ward and that offense will score, but I also think Cal and Fernando Mendoza will score too. And I also have a player prop we'll talk about in a second. But Logan, I need your official pick, then I'll dive into my prop. What do you like here?
Yeah, so the first pick on my card, you've kind of already hinted at it. I like Cal plus the points. I think that we see this line kind of moving down for a reason. I think this is not a great spot for Miami at all. First of all, East Coast team, playing in Florida, traveling all the way West Coast. Honestly, the travel on these college kids will be tough, in this matchup. I still think, obviously, with the college game day, maybe that energy into Berkeley. Hopefully, the fans do bring some energy. The fact that also that Cal had a bye week this past weekend, they're playing some really good football. We already saw that they beat Auburn as almost 2 touchdown underdogs. That was a big win on the road for Cal. I don't think they're scared of these like bigger, faster, stronger teams. I think they can play with the big boys. Honestly, I mean, that's the way I analyze this game. I need Cal to be able to contain Cam Ward, and I think they will. I think they're going to play a lot of ball control, type of offense that's like not do too much, but just be able to move the ball on Miami, kind of take a blueprint from what we saw Kyron Drones and Virginia Tech be able to do, because that Miami defense got shredded. I mean, they were in position to lose that game. They did need some late game miracle to pull that one out. But I think if you look at Cal's defense too, they're top 20 in points per drive. So they got to limit, they have to limit Miami to field goals instead of touchdowns. And I think that's what they do. To covering a 10.5 point spread, it's like, can you keep this one within 2 possessions and not have it be 2 touchdowns? Again, I definitely see a lot of pathways for Cal to cover this spread. I could see it easily being a touchdown or a field goal type game. I want all those points in my back pocket. Give me Cal plus the points. I'll have that as my first pick of the day.
But Logan, I have a prop in this game. I'm spamming my picks in these big time games because my prop is actually back in the Cal QB, Fernando Mendoza. I love his over 216.5 passing yards for all the reasons Logan just talked about why he likes Cal. I think their offense is going to have to be able to keep up. Going to be hard to do so without their QB throwing for a little bit over 200 passing yards. We look at Mendoza's last 3 games, 233, 198, and then 303. The only game they've lost this season, he threw 300 plus. So that makes me a pretty good indicator. Hey, they're trailing, they're throwing. Now, obviously, I'd love if they're not trailing for Logan's pick, and hopefully they're up, 10 points. And hopefully it's because, Mendoza's putting on a clinic. But I still think they're going to have to throw to keep up with Ward and that Miami offense, which is quick striking. So I think Mendoza, I like him here. Big time game. He has the pass catchers. He has the talented guys out there. Get the ball in space. Let them do their thing. I like the over here at 216.5 passing yards. And I forgot to mention, we didn't even do our our giveaway. I mentioned last week we said we would do our $50 giveaway. This is a little bit late in the video, but I did comment back to our giveaway winner. Let me pull up their name. I have their name off the top of my head. If this is you won $50, and this was your comment. Last week we said comment your funniest thing down below. And what's a Grady? I hate to even give him this money because he made fun of me as a Jets fan, but he said, what's the difference between a Jets fan and a baby? The baby will stop whining after a while. So apologies for not doing this $50 giveaway at the beginning of the video, but we will do it here. And as a reminder, if our 2 props hit this weekend, mine being Mendoza, Logan's being question mark right now, we'll again give away $50, and we'll figure out how to do that next week. Sorry for doing that late. If your name's What's a Grady, I commented back on your comment last week, how I can get in touch with you to send you some money. But Logan, I need your second pick of the weekend, and I need another winner. Where are you going?
Yeah, so for my second pick, I'll finish with the player prop at the end. Austin already gave you his, but I have another spread pick that I like, and it's laying the points with the Indiana Hoosiers. I like Indiana minus 13.5 in this one. If you really look at Indiana, this is a different team this year. They have a better offense, with Kurt Signetti. I really do like this Indiana team a lot. They're the first team to reach 200 points in the FBS after 4 games, scored 42 or more points in 4 consecutive games. They will be able to move the ball up and down the field. Northwestern, on the other side, they've really struggled to score points. And that's not good against an Indiana team that I think is finally finding their stride offensively. I mean, in Big Ten football, if you got a team that knows how to score, a team that doesn't know how to score, guys, I'm breaking news. The team that scores more points wins the game. And I think all we're asking in this one is for Indiana to have a lead and keep the lead and really just pull away in this one. Northwestern averaging just 9.3 points per game in 3 games against FBS opponents, 120th in the nation in points scored, 118th in passing yards. Are those stats bad? They sure as hell aren't good. I think Indiana wins this one a lot, and I think they turn those red zone trips into touchdowns rather than field goals. That's big time covering a 2 touchdown spread. Give me Indiana minus 13.5 as my second pick. Austin, throwing back to you though.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap up my card with my third and final game pick. Then I'll talk about my full card, and then I'll throw it over to Logan to do his thing. Here's my final pick of the weekend. It is a spread. And I'm going to be backing, drum roll please, get it out. We're going with Georgia minus 23.5 versus Auburn. Now, if you watched that Georgia-Alabama game last week, I don't think you'll find a better game for the rest of the season. That game was insane. It started off terrible, and I did actually end up live betting Georgia plus the spread, and that ended up being the freest wager of the weekend. But look, coming in here, coming off that loss, they obviously have a lot of tougher games on their schedule. You can't be messing around here at home against Auburn. You just can't. You got to go out there and spank them. We've talked about Auburn before. They should have beaten Oklahoma last week, but what did they do? They shot themselves in the foot. That's what they do. They turn over the ball. And against a defense like Georgia that's coming off a game where they could not stop Alabama the whole first half, they stopped them the second half, and they couldn't get a stop. And you had that crazy Ryan Williams catch and run. This Georgia defense can come in here. I wouldn't be shocked if Auburn doesn't even score a single point. They're going to come in here absolutely fired up. They're going to have to put the pounding on Auburn. This is just a terrible spot. If you're a Tiger fan, turn off the TV. It's not going to be fun. I like Georgia. I'll lay the big number. I don't care. I think they win this one by 30, maybe even 40 points. I don't think Auburn stands a chance on Saturday. Give me Georgia, the Dogs, minus 23.5 as my final pick of the weekend. I'll throw up my full card, and then I'll throw it to Logan for his final pick plus his prop. You have my full card on the screen. You're seeing a Tennessee, Arkansas over 58. Florida State, Clemson under 48.5. Might have done those in an opposite order. Oh well, and then Georgia minus 23.5. And then my prop, Fernando Mendoza over 216.5 pass yards. That is my full card. That's a 4-0 card, and I'm sweeping the board. But Logan, I need a third winner from you, and then I need a prop to hopefully win the people $50. Logan, take it over.
Yeah, you got in your bag for some SEC football with that Georgia pick. Never saw that coming. Georgia, great team. Hope they cover that big spread for you. But my SEC pick, taking South Carolina plus 9.5 against Ole Miss. Now, if you look at the Ole Miss last week, they ran into a buzzsaw. That was Kentucky. Kentucky dominated the line of scrimmage. They stuffed Ole Miss up front, and they really took advantage of that injured Ole Miss offensive line. South Carolina, we saw what they did when they matched up against Kentucky. They handled the Kentucky. So just based on transitive properties, surely South Carolina is going to be able to hang with them. But I actually do like the spot for them. I think this is a big step-up game versus them because this is still a really good Ole Miss team. They will not overlook them at all. South Carolina's offense, just middle of the pack, 38th in the nation in points per game. But their defense is the elite unit. They're tied for third in the SEC in interceptions and third against the pass as well. Obviously, against Ole Miss, you have to limit those explosive pass plays. Led by Jackson Dart, etc. South Carolina also 14th among FBS teams, allowing for yards allowed per game this season, only 264.8. South Carolina also tied for 16th among FBS teams for first downs against the season. So this is a South Carolina team, offense and defense. I think they're going to go pound for pound, blow for blow with Ole Miss. Starting quarterback Lenore Sellers, expected to return Saturday, which I really do want to see him in the lineup. I like him in there because he's the offense is a lot more. It flows a lot better with Sellers in there. I do not like what I saw from the backup when he had to come in. South Carolina, also what I know about them, they can run the ball, they can get after it defensively, and against one of the more underrated environments in Williams-Brice Stadium, that was rocking against LSU. I think they bring the energy against Ole Miss. I think this is one of those potential spiral losses for Ole Miss because you lost a game that you really felt like you could have won last week. Ole Miss did. And then now you get to go on the road against the SEC opponent that is not going to lie down and just let you hammer them. I like South Carolina with the points. There's just too many points in this one for a team that I think can keep this one in one possession, like the Gamecocks in that one. But that leads into my player prop. Let's stick with the SEC football. Now it's an SEC versus Big 12 matchup. It's one that's near and dear to Austin and I. It's RJ Harvey, and I'm taking his over 109.5 rushing yards. Now, if this prop sounds familiar, Austin was on him last week. Now, he didn't sniff that because there was bad game script for UCF. Their defense was getting absolutely cooked by Shedeur Sanders. Their offense was not in rhythm at all. When this UCF offense is clicking, they are just able to run chewing clock with RJ Harvey. That's what they're going to do on the road in the swamp against the Florida front that I won't lie to you. I don't see them really being able to stop the run in this one. They're going to lean heavily on RJ Harvey in a hostile environment. The swamp is great. I will be shouting my lungs out. I hope to lose my voice by the end of the game, but I know realistically what UCF wants to do. They want to run the ball. Florida is not good at stopping the run. We've seen teams go into the swamp already this year. Miami, Texas A&M, be able to run the ball consistently. UCF, no exception to that. I think they're going to run the ball. I think KJ is also going to have a decent game running the ball as well. They struggle versus these dual threat type quarterbacks. Got to keep them honest, and I think that's what they do in this one. I like RJ Harvey over in rushing yards. To conclude my picks, hopefully that paired with Austin's pick, we can give another $50 giveaway. I'd love to see that for this week. But I'll recap my picks real quick in case you forgot them. I had Cal plus the points, plus 10.5. I was laying the points with Indiana minus 13.5. And then I was also on South Carolina plus 9.5. Austin, this is a big bounce back week for me. I served some absolute bad wagers last week, but I love my card this week.
Yeah, we're dominating this week. I'll throw up my card just again on the screen. You can check out that. Like Logan said, if both of our props hit, we'll do another $50 giveaway. I already said the one in the video from last week was what's a Grady. Hopefully he comes back and we can give him some money. And hopefully we can give away some more money next week. Let's have an 8-0 weekend. Like I said, we'll be at the UCF-UF game in Gainesville in the swamp. We are in section, I don't know, row 5 of one of the end zones, south end zone. I don't know. Logan knows more about that. I hope to not know where I am by game time. That's the goal. But let's have a wonderful weekend. It's Austin Logan signing out. See you guys in the next one. Peace.